enter a company. And if you have such a trouble, you can check with us. You can just comment us. So, for example, Penny, do you still remember the first day you entered Wilford?
Of course, I remember. It wasn't very important, but an awkward day for me. You know, the first day there were so many new faces in the office, and I had to do my best to remember their names as fast as possible. But you know, that was not that quite easy.
Yes, I know. And by the way, I would like to show you a video which may bring you back at that situation. Now let's have a look.
Do you have trouble remembering names?
Hi, nice to meet you.
Hi, Sunny. This is the first day working here. Now let me introduce the colleagues to you.
Thank you.
Okay, this is Pascal. This is Chris. And this is Hin. And this is Tao. And this is Joey. This is Rachel. And this is Alisa. And this is Daniel.
Okay, got it.
A few moments later.
Hey, hi, Sunny.
Who is she? Oh no, I don't remember. Hi.
Welcome back.
Oh, it's totally one of my shadows, and the same as the first day I entered here.
Yes, and it is also the struggle of most people, I guess, and hope that everybody can pass through this situation smoothly.
If you guys remember other interesting things happened in the first day of your work, please chat with us and welcome your comment here.
Yes. Okay, guys, here I have a good news for you.
What kind of good news?
Yes, today we will hold a lucky draw for you. You just need to watch our broadcast to the end and comment us. And if you comment us, we will write down your name. And if your name occurs in the commenting area, we will give you the chance to enter our lucky draw. And if you are the lucky one, we can send a gift to you.
Except for lucky draw, if you follow us to be our fans, you can also contact our customer service, and we'll also send you gifts together if you make orders. So guys, please remember to follow us to get more information about our welfare group. Put the catalog button to contact our customer service and talk with us anytime.
Yes. And today we are going to talk about piston rings assembly. In the last section, we have shared some knowledge about cylinder liners function, structure, as well as our unique advantage.
Yes, it was quite impressive. I remember that you used the whiteboard, right, to show 3 cylinder liner and tell us how to distinguish wet and dry cylinder liner.
Yes.
And if you guys missed the live stream last time, you can see, you can turn to the back, playback to reflect the content of cylinder liner. First of all, I would like to know more about our company. So, Minnie, can you introduce Welfare to the friends?
Of course. Welfare Engine Parts is a group company having factory and offices. About our product, we have developed a wide range of engine components like piston and piston ring, liner or bearing, gasket kit for various combustion engines of commercial vehicle, of highway, passenger car, motorcycle, etc. And our great manufacturer capacity consists of 4 production locations in China, equipped with importing machines and product line from Japan and Germany. The factory main business are OE for big car manufacturers, and the Wheel for Guangzhou are doing business for aftermarket.
And we are now supplying West of OE clients worldwide. So it is convincing that we have good experience working with the clients and understanding the process of development and documentation. Guys, I believe that you have no more information for our welfare engine parts company. If you have any question, please don't hesitate to comment us. We will reply your comments once we read your message.
Yes. Okay, now let's get to our main topic today. It's piston rings assembly. First, now let's watch a video of how to assemble piston ring. Let's have a look. Before assembling, can you tell me some basic knowledge about piston ring, Manny?
No problem. We know that the working condition of piston ring in engine is very harsh and contradictory. It bears the high pressure and high heat generated by the combustion of gas in the combustion chamber. That is to say, it needs to bear the resulting high mechanical load and thermal load, but also the relative friction movements with the cylinder wall and piston ring groove. So it is one of the key parts in the engine with worst working condition.
Yes. And the performance of piston rings also affects the power, reliability, economy, emission, and other technical requirements of internal combustion engine.
Yes, it is quite important. What about the function of it?
A good question. You know, the function is usually the most important topic before discussing any of the components. In the past several sections, we have discussed the function of piston ring. So let me briefly introduce them again. And you can see that here is a piston with 3 piston rings. Yes, and these 2 rings are the compression ring. The main function is to seal the combustion chamber from the crankcase and transfer heat from the piston to the cylinder. Also play an important part in controlling engine oil consumption. And the last one, we call it oil control ring. The oil scraping function of piston ring is to prevent excessive oil from entering the combustion chamber.
That's quite clear. About the function, can you tell us more details?
Of course, to be more specific, it has 4 main functions. The first one is sealing. As we just mentioned, the combustion chamber must be as tightly sealed as possible so that the rapidly burning mixture of oil and gas can push the piston of the cylinder downward into the crankcase. This function is called seal gas.
Yes, the first ring seals about 80 to 90% of the gas, and the second ring seals about 10 to 12% of the gas, and the oil ring seals about 5% of the gas.
Yes, and the second function is oil control. The oil ring scrapes the excessive oil from the cylinder wall into the piston, keeping the oil consumption at the desired level while reducing harmful exhaust emission.
The oil ring controls about 80 to 90% of the oil, and the air ring controls about 10 to 12% of the oil.
Yes, and the third one is heat conducting. The piston ring transfers heat from the hot piston to the cool cylinder wall.
Gas combustion produces 70 to 80% of the heat from the piston ring groove to the cylinder wall through the piston ring.
Yes, and the heat conducting function is very important to maintain the stability of piston and piston ring. Only in this way can the gas seal function be maintained without damage.
Yes, and I know the last function is supporting.
Yes.
We know that it is the piston ring, not the piston, that makes contact with the cylinder wall. Under the action of lateral pressure, the piston is reciprocating while pressing against the cylinder wall, so it may impact the cylinder wall. The support of the piston ring is meant to avoid such impacts and reduce wear.
To conclude, the functions of piston ring are sealing, oil controlling, heat conducting, and then supporting.
Now we know that these small parts can also make a big difference in the whole process of combustion. So how can we assemble piston rings?
Okay, now let's move on to rings assembly part. Let's look at the PowerPoint. We divide the rings assembly into 3 sections.
The first one is preparation. The second one is installation. And the third one is inspection and check.
Next, the first scenario, new piston rings and new pistons. This is comparatively easy. We just need to check the part numbers. If we don't know the correct part number, or we can't confirm if the part number is correct or not, we can compare the used part with the new ones. And if there is any feature difference, especially key features like ring and piston diameter, ring thickness, piston groove, the top of the crown to the center of pin distance, and etc. We need to change to the side exactly what they were.
And please don't forget to check the piston weight. Before assembling the ring, we need to guarantee the clearness of the piston and piston ring, especially piston groove. Second scenario, put new ring on used piston. Besides checking the piston we mentioned above, one of the most important checking points is carbon residue in piston groove. We need to carefully remove the carbon residue from the groove. Better to use the hard wooden or rubber plastic pieces. Don't use soft wood or wood rubber plastic ones with burrs, which will contaminate the piston. And please do not use metal, especially sharp ones, to clean the carbon residue, which will potentially damage the groove.
Yes. And the third scenario, install used ring on used piston. This situation is very real because we seldom install used rings. In this case, we need to clean the carbon residue not only from the piston but also from the rings.
After all the pistons and rings prepared, we are ready to put rings on piston. First and foremost, I'd like to mention the assembling order as the PowerPoint shows. We assemble oil ring first, since it is at the bottom of the ring grooves. Then we assemble the second and the first compression rings. The picture here can be used as a reference.
Yes, as we have mentioned in early section, there are multiple types of rings. Among them, compression rings installation are similar. We just need to ensure that the first, second, and third ring are assembled in the right groups, and ensure top or other marks on piston upwards. By the way, you'd better use a dedicated tool to install rings in case we break rings or scratch pistons.
For oil rings, there are 2 types. We know the type of 2 rings is most popular. For the 2 pieces rings, we need to install the coil spring first, then the outer oil control ring. Be sure the opening of coil spring and outer rings opening keep in 180 degrees and ensure the spring locates exactly in outer rings inner groove. For 3 pieces rings, Install expander spacer first, then steel strips. Be sure the steel strips opening in 180 degrees and expander spacer opening with another 90 degrees, or per the ring package installation guide. Usually, install rings from bottom to top of piston groove.
Yes. Now, let's invite one of our experienced tech workers to show us the process of assembly. Now, let's welcome.
Hello, everyone.
And this is Tao.
Yeah.
Now, let him introduce how to assemble the rings.
Okay. First, 6 inches for me.
And we need to use the special tool, let me show you, like loading calipers. Yes? In this way, you can avoid the piston rings, fracture, distortion, and other phenomena that resulting from improper installation. And remember the order of assembling that we just mentioned above.
Okay. The first ring.
Yes?
Okay. Second ring. The
Third ring.
The fourth ring. Okay. Fifth ring.
Yes. Now, how we assemble them one by one.
Okay. Let me show you.
So we need to remember to check the direction of the piston rings. Now, the first one, we need to assemble the oil ring. Okay. The order of assembling that we just mentioned. Okay, now finish the first one, then the second one. We need to assemble the spring first. It is also kind of oil ring. And then assemble this oil ring. Okay. This tool can make sure that we will not destroy the ring and piston. Then finish the second one, then the third one. We need to check the direction by noticing the mark on it. We need to check the direction upwards. Okay, now finish the third one. Then the second one. Okay, after checking, now let's assemble. Okay, we finished the second one. Then the last one. Okay, after checking, okay, finish. This is the whole process of assembling. Now, let's have a look. This model is OM352 and its diameter is 97 millimeters. Okay, this is the whole process.
Thank you, Tao. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Let's move back.
Yeah.
Now, I believe the steps of assembly is quite clear now. If you have any question, please contact. You can just comment below. We will reply once we see your message.
Yes. After assembling, do we finish the whole process of assembly?
Not yet. Last but not least, we could not forget to check the ring. So let's look at power points.
Yes. Let's have a look.
The last step is inspection and check. Some checkpoints are as below. The first one, check oil control ring opening if oil rings move freely in piston groove. Second, check compression ring top marks. Third, check if compression rings move freely in piston grooves. And fourth, check if we correctly install first, second, or third compression rings. 3 compression rings only found in some diesel engines. Considering compression rings, shape means similar in some engines.
What's more, which also makes sure first and second openings in 180 degrees. Avoid putting the gap in the same direction with piston pinhole. Top can be interpreted as intake side of piston. Remember to use special tool to put the lubricated piston and ring into liner if all the piston, rings, and current installed properly.
Exactly. And we have concluded some skills of piston installation. First, be sure to use soft stick to clean the carbon residue inside ring grooves carefully. Also carbon residue in other area if any. Second, check ring gaps after putting rings into ring grooves. Third, check ring top marks during rings installation and before assembling piston groove into cylinder liners.
Yes. And the fourth is remember to use dedicated tool to install rings to avoid breaking. And fifth, check rings directions before put ring groups into cylinders. And sixth, don't forget to lubricate piston and check cleanliness when put piston groups into cylinder liners.
Great. The picture below can be used as a reference about rings direction. Check during piston groove installation.
Okay, come on, is it clear? That's all about the assembly of piston rings. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us. You can contact our customer service or just comment us. We will reply you once we read your message.
Yes, and now I would like to notice that as long as you comment us, you can enter our lucky draw, which means you can get a chance to get our free gifts.
Wow.
Now it's our time to comment.
Okay, let's listen to the music.